Chance, I kind of expect it, so don't worry about it. Don't even sweat it, buddy. How did I get started? Um, well, I can remember I had like a kid's toolbox, like a child's carpentry set. There was a saw, there was chisels, there was a hammer, there was a tape measure. Uh, I had that when I was a kid, and I remember watching the Woodwright Shop when I was a kid, which was a guy called Roy Underhill who was doing all kinds of old timey hand joinery, traditional joinery, and working with traditional tools. And then in high school, in junior high, I took shop, wood shop. And I don't know, it could have just been like I was not good academically in school. I didn't do well with my academics. So I think I kind of just accepted the fact that I was going to have to be a carpenter or a blue collar worker, and I was not not going to be in the white collar world. Um, you know, that was in like junior high or in high school, and as soon as I dropped out of high school and I joined the carpenters union, like within a couple months, I was underage actually, but I knew a guy, so I got in there, and I mean that was 1996 or 1997, I believe, and or maybe it was 1998, something like that. Um, yeah, and I got right into the carpenters union, and I worked there for years, and then I stopped working there. It was a guy I worked for. It was like a real douchebag. He's like a real miserable prick. Uh, and then I worked for a friend kicking carpet, which was a terrible, terrible idea. Never kick carpet if you have the opportunity. um, and then I started working for another friend who did doors and cabinetry and trim and stuff like that. So I did that for a while. That was probably like 10 years, within the last 10 years. And so, uh, yeah, I think that about sums it up. I've always enjoyed old stuff, um, like antiques and stuff, and how things used to be made instead of how they are made mostly today. So I think it all just kind of came together. A whole bunch of different circumstances came together, and it was like, at some level, it was also like, self doubt that got me into it, because I was pretty sure I wasn't going to be doing other more, because blue collar skilled labor back then, and even now to some degree, is kind of like it's kind of stigmatized, like that's where people who aren't book smart or aren't very learned go, or that's where the losers go to do work. So that's kind of the mindset that I had about it back then. uh, I don't anymore, obviously. You need to know a lot of shit. And what I'm saying there is I should know a lot more shit. So I think that kind of sums it up. Yari. Oh my God. You know, living with my parents in their house. Um, yeah. I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of work in the house for them. Um, there's some things that I don't do, and there's some things I used to not do that I now do because we just couldn't find a trustworthy contractor, whether no matter what the job was. Yeah, chance. When I went to carpentry school in the union, and it was pretty bad. It was kind of embarrassing. I was a high school dropout, but a lot of these people, they were really just yeah, they didn't know, and they didn't want to know, and they didn't care. You know what I mean? That's kind of you know the union. I mean, and take the union too. The union went from something that was very useful and helpful to people, and it's just it's kind of it's like just like a meal ticket type thing now. It just sucks. Everything kind of lost its edge and turned to shit. Everything changes though, I guess. It is overwhelming. Oh yeah, let me tell you. I mean, I get into jobs that are overwhelming all the time. I found it's easy if you can kind of break it down into sectional parts for the job. You know, you got to do this first, you got to do this second, you got to do this third. It can help. I don't think it's the golden formula or anything, but what kind of projects have I done? Uh, well, here. I mean, I've got the whole downstairs is gutted. Uh, I've put in entire new bathroom. Uh, done tile work. Uh, I had to re-level where there's a back porch, a raised porch, four-season porch hanging off the back of the house. Lift. I had to lift that and put new supports under it because it was hanging off. Um, yeah, I mean, well, gutted entire rooms and just remodel the whole rooms and stuff like that. Vaulting ceilings and stuff like that. The worst part is where you come into where you find other people's work, and it's just like, oh my God, what the hell were these guys doing? Like they didn't give a shit. The original owner of the house built an addition, but they didn't. When they put the addition and attached it to the existing house, they didn't strip the sheathing off the house, so they just, instead of taking all the plywood off that side so that you had regular walls, they just went over the plywood